the Honourable Member Dennis O'Rourke.
Chairman, New Zealand First still does not support this bill in its present form, nor the amendments which have been put forward, which we do not think have addressed the fundamental issues. It's been somewhat amusing to observe the jousting between the members of the Labour Party and the members of the National Party, especially over the SFO. However, New Zealand First does not regard that issue as being central to this legislation and is rather peripheral, and it's not something that we wish to deal with at this stage, although I think it is something that needs to be considered at some other time. New Zealand First does acknowledge, however, that the process has been comprehensive for this bill. Unfortunately, many of us in New Zealand First weren't here for most of that process. However, we do think that the committee in particular has done a good job in considering the safeguards to some of the personal rights and freedoms which are actually attacked by this bill. And in particular, I refer to the fact that it is good that the bill does consolidate and improve the powers which are current in 69 different acts, removes many inconsistencies. It's good that it codifies the existing law and clarifies powers which are often unclear, and that it provides a regulatory regime for high technology devices used in surveillance, and seeks to ensure judicial oversight where it's needed, places issuing functions for warrants in experienced hands, and provides for public reporting. But none of that really is enough to ensure that New Zealanders' fundamental rights are preserved. And I refer in particular to the police powers for examination orders in the bill, which are of particular concern to New Zealand First. Now, apart from the current SFO powers, the law has protected the right to silence for a very long time, and that right should continue to be protected. We do not want to move in New Zealand towards a police state. And I refer to what I said in my earlier speech on this, that by requiring people to answer questions puts them in a difficult position, what has in the past been referred to as a cruel trilemma, because they may either be punished for their silence, they may be punished for perjury if they don't tell the truth, or if they do tell the truth, they may find themselves incriminating themselves or breaching the confidentiality of others. And it is not right that that will not happen, even though the bill says that their right to self-incrimination is protected. The practical effect is not that. Now, Mr Chairman, apart from those powers of the SFO, I read that clauses 31 and 32 of the bill would allow senior police officers to apply for examination in a business context on reasonable grounds if they believe that there's an offence punishable by more than 5 years imprisonment. And those are similar powers to the SFO in serious fraud cases. But it's a serious step, we think, to extend those powers to the New Zealand Police. And clauses 33 and 34 extend the police powers even further to non-business cases involving serious or complex fraud, punishable by imprisonment for a term of 7 years or more, or if it's been committed by an organised criminal group as defined in the Crimes Act. Now, this opens up a very wide area for police use of compulsory examination, and for that reason it really does go too far to achieve the desired balance, which many have talked about, between the need for better police and agency enforcement of the law and the right to silence and other important rights. Mr Chairman, the line may already have been crossed with the Serious Fraud Office having rather draconian compulsory examination powers, but at least the Serious Fraud Office is experienced and is specialised in the area of serious fraud. The police are not experienced, and I believe there should be in those areas, not as experienced, and I believe there should be a distinction in the powers between the two. There are requirements in the bill, of course, for reporting on the use of these powers, but I don't believe that they are likely to be a serious break should the police over time get into habit of, Mr Chairman, of using those powers.
I call the Honourable Member David Clendon.